Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to Navigation, the Human Design Podcast. I'm your host, Shannon McAllister. I'm a human design embodiment coach. I'm also the creator behind the Rebel Soul Journey. If you do not already follow me on social media, go check me out on Instagram and TikTok at the Rebel Soul Journey. I'm also on Pinterest, same name. I'm going to be taking you on a 64-week journey through the human design gates. On Instagram, we're going to have a ton of content each day. And over on TikTok, I'll be making videos. So today we are on our last energy type, the reflector. And I love reflectors. Reflectors are only 1% to 2% of the population. And reflectors mean that their centers are completely open and undefined. So they are really, their aura is really resistant and sampling. They're so open. So they're really here to try on and test out different ways of being. I like to think of reflectors as they get to choose their own avatar like daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. They get to try on different personality types, different ways of expressing themselves, different places of living, different communities that they roll in, different jobs. They're here to sample and try and test out. They're also really good at sensing what's going on in the collective and knowing what's happening in the zeitgeist. They're here to reflect back to us all what's happening, what's the conscious collective saying. And because they're sampling and they're trying on so many different ways of being, they then have this soul signature of surprise. They are delighted and surprised when they try on a new way of being and it feels good to their soul. They're just like pleasantly surprised. And that's when they know that they've made a correct decision for them. They're not self-tell, something that they're making a decision and it's not aligned for them, or they're around people and their environment and they're feeling constant disappointment. That's their cue that they're not living in alignment. And so reflectors, because they are completely open, there's this very like sampling aura. They're either going to resist things because they don't want to be disappointed, or they're going to sample things because they want to be surprised. Their strategy is to wait a full lunar cycle, 28 days. So something that I recommend reflectors to do, and this is mostly for big life decisions. Like you don't have to wait 28 days to decide what sandwich to eat. There's other ways and other probably energy in your chart that you can consistently rely on. Like if you have a gate in your spleen, you might have an intuitive pools that you can rely on a daily basis, or your profile lines as a reflector are really key indicators. So just a couple examples, like if you are a 1-3 reflector, you're here to then investigate and have a lot of knowledge around things and explore and experience things on a subconscious level. So that's kind of how you can navigate on a daily basis and make those daily basis decisions. But when you're going to pick up and move across the country or quit your job, or break up with your partner, that's when you're going to maybe want to wait a full lunar cycle and see and check in with yourself during the whole entire process. The moon can be really significant for reflectors if that is something that calls to you or speaks to you or even resonates with you and you've been getting a pull. I strongly then recommend following just kind of the astrology of what's happening in the moon, because as a reflector and being so open, what I've come to see with some of my reflector clients and what they've spoken to me is that you can kind of pick up the energy of the moon, and the moon changes signs every like 2 days, I believe, or 2 or 3 days. So you're constantly shifting and changing the energies that you feel in any lunar cycle. So keeping a journal and thinking about that decision and reflecting on it, maybe during the different moon phases, even of like new moon, quarter moon, full moon, and seeing how you feel and what the signs astrology signs the moon is in can maybe be helpful for you in reflecting on your decision and how you're feeling throughout that 28-day cycle, and then coming to your decision. But play around with it. And I do recommend for reflectors, because there's only about 1 to 2% of the population that are reflectors, really diving into your profile, checking out the moon cycle if that feels good, and also learning from other reflectors, especially maybe ones that have been on a human design journey a little bit longer. There's a few reflectors that I personally follow on TikTok. They make great content, and they really want to speak to reflectors in particular because, you know, I'm a generator, so I don't have this lived experience. So getting that knowledge and wisdom from people who have had similar experiences to this energy type can be very helpful. So reflectors, I love to think of you guys as this observer, but you have this kaleidoscope that you look through life through, and you can twist and turn and try on and sample and look through the world in different multicolored ways. You're the wise observer, and you really hold up a mirror to humanity and magnify the world around us. You have this deep cosmic connection because you can be affected by the moon cycles and the astrology signs and what's happening in astrology and the cosmos. Your health and well-being reflect what is happening in the collective at large, and especially the environment in which you are in, because you are reflecting back. So if you're feeling a certain way, if you're feeling that disappointment, if you're feeling, because you're open, you have that open solar plexus, you're going to feel all the emotions from other people. You have the open head, you're going to feel you're going to hear and other people's thoughts and feel their anxiety and all, their fears. You're going to feel the root pressure of other people around you, and this like pressure to finish things when maybe you don't need to. So be very sensitive of the environments in which you are in and pay attention, because you're reflecting that back to everybody else. And as the observer, you can view the world in a novel way and really show others the gift of who they truly are, because you're the mirror. You're reflecting back to other people who they are. And with your sampling aura, you reflect, resist, and sample other energy types. You're really receptive to the influences of your surroundings, and you can be really impacted by the planetary transits, as well as any of your external environments. So for a reflector, like working in a very busy office where maybe everybody's frustrated and annoyed and angry all the time, isn't going to be the best environment for you, because you feel it all. Really, again, like look at those profile lines, because these are going to be the most reliable aspects of you. It's your the first line of your profile line is your frontward facing personality, and your second line is more your subconscious, what you feel in the body and how your body navigates you. You are a conduit for our collective awakening because you reflect back. You might even trigger people, but you awaken something in them because you're reflecting back to how they're truly behaving in that moment, what they're feeling, what they're going through, their mental anxieties, the root pressure, their ego, their intuition, their health. Your ability to gain access to others' energy really makes you want to surround yourself with people that you trust, that you appreciate, and that you truly like the way that they're being in the world, because you're going to feel it. And so if you're around people that are having fun and connected to spirituality and, nature, and, I think especially for reflectors, nature can be the ultimate place for you to really tune into yourself and who you are, because you're not near anyone else and you're not taking on that energy. You're taking on nature's energy. And so that can be a beautiful place for reflectors to go and kind of clean the slate. I've heard a lot of reflectors talk about how nature has really helped guide them and and bring them back to more of a heart coherence, especially if you've been in a place of like disappointment or, an environment that wasn't pleasing to your soul and you weren't being surprised by life. So reflectors, yes, really dive into your profile line, dive into your gates. Your gate's going to really tell you what your soul gifts are and what you came here to cause and create, as well as that incarnation cross. And play around. You're here to try on and sample so many different ways of being. So don't get lost. You have an open identity center. You're not here to know who you are. You are here to trust spirit is going to guide you to be who you need to be at any given moment in any given season. And when you're following that lunar authority and waiting and making decisions that are correct and right for you, you're going to start to be pleasantly surprised by life and a lot less disappointed. If you aren't doing so already, come follow me over on TikTok and Instagram. It has been a pleasure talking about the energy types. We're going to be going into the gates. Each week, a gate will be launched, and then I will sprinkle in there some topics of human design. We'll go over the authority types, we'll go over profile lines, the centers, but for sure, each week we are going to be dropping a new gate. And over on Instagram are going to be some fun graphics, and on TikTok will be a video. And this podcast is also going to be posted on YouTube if you prefer video versus just voice. But I am just so happy you are here, and I hope that you have a beautiful week, beautiful soul.